for staying with us. Our attention is now on the leadership issues within the All Progressives Congress APC. There's been some turmoil, politically speaking, for Mr. Abdullahi Ganduje, who is the national chairman of the party in his home state, Kano. That's where the trouble started brewing from. And there are those who are saying that this has some ripple effect on the leadership of the party at the national level. Mr. Ganduje has been responding to say, look, these are people who are working against the interests of the party and are being used by the opposition in the state. But what is the interest of the APC as a ruling party in all of this? I'm being joined tonight by a former national chairman of the APC Northwest, Malam Salihu Lukman, who joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. It's good to see you again.
I'm not former national chairman, I'm former national vice chairman.
The national vice chairman, apologies. Yeah. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
Give us an understanding. This looks like a deja vu, isn't it? Over and over again, we've seen political the national chairman of the APC being torn between all of these kind of political crises in their own state. We saw what happened with Adams Oshiomhole. We saw what happened with John Odige Oyegun, and now we're seeing what is happening. And in fact, in Yobe, and the governor of Yobe, when he was the interim national chairman of the party, we saw what was happening with him. It does now look like a deja vu, isn't it?
Well, I think that is the worrisome part of it. It's like we are stuck in one place. And for me, I think it begs the question about whether, as a party, we have made any progress at all. Because when the party was negotiated in 2013, the vision was very clear, which is basically about putting in place a party that is entirely different from what we experience with PDP and other parties, including even the parties that merge. Now, I think a number of things have happened which require us to really go back to the drawing board and review and identify what are really the challenges. Because as it is now, my conclusion is that if we limit it to the issue, okay, let's just get rid of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje as national chairman and bring a new person, unless you address the challenges. What are the challenges? Look, I have said it over and over again. Some of the experiences under, for instance, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, I'll start from there and walk back up to the leadership of Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. You will discover that they're practically the same. In the case of Senator Abdullahi Adamu, it was a case of completely frozening the organs, the structures of the party. Meetings were not taking place. Throughout the tenure of Senator Abdullahi Adamu, between March 2022 to July 2023, we had only one national executive committee meeting.
That's the NEC meeting.
NEC meeting.
That's the second highest organ.
The second highest organ. And ideally, it should be taking place every 3 months.
Every quarter. That's 4 times a year.
And there are statutory obligations that require pronouncement of that particular organ with respect to governance of the party. Issues, for instance, management of fund, issues of, for instance, even having a national budget, the question of what you do with respect to influencing policy decision, how the party is implementing its campaign promises and what have you, is require pronouncement of NEC.
And you became an activist within the party as a member of the NWC.
I have been an activist even before then anyway. But the main issue is that we changed the leadership of Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and none of those today, 8 months into the leadership of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, no NEC meeting has taken place, no any other meeting has taken place.
The same disease.
The same problem of National Working Committee usurping the powers of other organs of the party continued. And National Working Committee is just an administrative organ. It's supposed to be implementing decisions taken. It's not to make decisions. Now, There is even a critical organ because it is expected there will be contestation. Arising from contestation, there will be disagreement. So you need an organ which should serve as the conscience of the party, always intervening and settling disputes. And that is the National Administrative Committee, which is the variant of Board of Trustees. It has never been inaugurated. So in terms of even party, and this, when I say it has never been inaugurated since the party was formed.
Has the party's account been audited?
We were told, and you remember some of the debate we had when I was in the National Working Committee. Senator Abdullah Adamu and Senator Yola Mitchell said they have submitted the audited account to INEC.
It's not made public.
It's not even, before you submit any audited account, there has to be a decision of, for instance, how you appoint the auditor. Who is the auditor? It's the powers of NEC. At best, National Working Committee should propose, and then
it should be ratified by the NEC.
Ratified by the NEC.
The auditor begins his work.
Exactly. Throughout up to today, I'm not aware of anywhere where, for instance, the financial statement of the party was presented. And part of the challenge, and this is the point which I never shy away from discussing it, you ended up, because issues of finance are not sorted out. Question of party funding is never...
Everything is opaque.
Sorted. Party leaders ended up becoming like beggars. So capacity, instead of becoming umpires over elected representatives, they become houseboys and housegirls of elected representatives. And for me, this is why I say we have to go back to the drawing board. In 2012, 2013, when APC was being negotiated, you remember there was a lot of internal debate which aggregated national debate, and it regenerated expectation, so much so that Nigerians were looking forward to a situation where a new leadership produced by the APC for the country will radically depart from what we used to have.
Well, unfortunately, that is not happening.
That did not happen. Now,
so the APC is somewhat like almost the same thing with the PDP.
That is the challenge. And I think for me, because we are faced with this reality, it presents an opportunity for leaders of the party to really go back and renegotiate the party. Because as it is, look, when you have a political party that doesn't meet, it's as good as not having a party. We are reduced to another election platform. And the danger is that even in managing an election platform, we have produced almost a disaster. You know, remember in 2019, the court disqualified us from presenting candidates in Rivers State.
In Rivers, in Zamfara.
In Zamfara. It was even after we won the election.
It was all nullified.
It was nullified. Remember the recent one in 2020 in Bayelsa, where you have a situation whereby
on the eve,
just 24 hours before inaugurating the governor,
the governor-elect,
and he was he was completely is it disqualified, or his election was nullified largely because of his deputy. If you have, and it highlights the point about poor party governance. And sincerely speaking, my appeal to our leaders is that we must see this as an opportunity to go back to the negotiation table.
Mr. Lukman, you will imagine that someone like President Bola Tinubu has had a long battle in the days of the AC, the AD, I mean, with the likes of Chief Ayo Adebanjo and some of the founders of the early parties where President, the governor then, Bola Tinubu, emerged, and eventually the departure and how he has been able to make that party somewhat like a regional party that eventually now liaised with the ABGA, the PDP, and forming the APC in 2013. And you wonder that he perhaps has an understanding of internal party governance. Do you think it can make that kind of difference? And if it does, where does it start from?
I'm very confident that President Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu can make the difference, but he needs to be strengthened in the sense that leaders of the party and all of us in the party need to really demonstrate support in terms of the direction the party should be going. Unfortunately, when leaders sit back and all they want is business as usual, we end up weakening the hands of Asuwaju. That is what happened in the case of former President Buhari, whereby we ended up rationalizing basically all decisions he has taken, whether it is right or wrong. We turned out to be weak in engaging him because largely, and this is where the problem is, majority, if not every party leader, the aspiration is to become appointees in government to hold positions, and the inability to take risk to engage the president, for instance, in terms of getting him to take the right decision.
And you look at Second Republic politics,
where
the party is the fulcrum. The party is the mother of political elected political.
I can't remember which book. There is a case whereby I think it is the Second Republic NPN, where Shagali was being quoted to talk about a leader of the party from Northwest who did not vote for him during the party primary. But in order to really ensure that he surrounds himself by people who can tell him to do the right thing, he brought him into government.
So at that time, Mr. Lukman, party leaders will sit at the high table. Elected officials will sit right in front of them. But the reverse is the case. Elected officers will even come late to party meetings.
For me, this is where I believe President Asuwaju, and that is why some of us are very vocal early in the tenure of President Asuwaju. We believe he stands a very good opportunity to write his name in the sun of history, democratic history of this country, by correcting a number of these anomalies. Because, some of the problem of discipline, whereby you have elected representatives, I just saw in the last segment where you are talking about Yahaya. There are Second Republic parties. None of the Second Republic parties will allow what is going on in the case of Yahaya Bello, for instance. And for me, really, this is where, if you remember, I keep raising the point about APC coming up with a kind of code of conduct for elected representatives and leaders of the party. Because look, leadership is about trust. It's about really a mandate which you must demonstrate capacity to handle. Now, a situation where we take all of these things and just look the other way around and believe, look, this is what, when you look at what is going on in many states, whereby current serving governors are making rubbish of their predecessors.
It's happening in your state of Kaduna.
It's not just Kaduna, almost everywhere. Somehow, it's largely because of the mismanagement of political relationship. And somehow because the main focus is about really election. What happened in between election is being subordinated to almost not being considered. So for me, look, sincerely speaking, my appeal to APC leaders, and it's encouraging that we are debating these issues. My appeal to APC leaders is that we must not limit the issues of what we do today to just the question of changing Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje as the national chairman.
You think that
we must renegotiate the party? We must create a new framework rather than a situation where you have imperial leaders, which is the point you are talking. We have really collective leadership. A kind of partnership whereby leaders of the party relate with each other on equal basis at all levels. Now, it's not that we don't have structures that will facilitate that. We do. If you look at our national caucus, state caucuses, that is what they are designed to achieve. But largely because, again, we have mismanaged ourselves. We are not even talking about that. Look, before 2015 election, I can tell you, our national caucus was meeting almost weekly. But part of the tragedy that has happened immediately after the electoral victory of 2015, national caucus stopped meeting.
Let me ask you, how do you hope that this issue, if the national chairman of the party is being embattled and is being dragged by the state government over issues of allegations of fraud when he was in office, how do you think that the party can handle it? Because that's the number one person in the party.
I think, look. It's unfortunate we are talking about this thing. My honest recommendation will be that we must push Dr. Abdullah Umar Ganduje to renegotiate relationship back in his state. Because
you think this is political?
It's political. If you don't approach it politically, you will never take it away. You can replace Dr. Abdullah Umar Ganduje, and if capacity to get leaders to do the needful back in their base is not addressed, it will continue to haunt us. Now, I said,
do you think it's his relationship between him and Kwankwaso?
I mean, no more, no less.
How can that be resolved?
I mean, look. I have said it over and over again. For me, it was an avoidable crisis which emerged largely because the party didn't handle it well. When, for instance, Kwankwaso was still in the party and Ganduje was the governor of Kano State, don't forget, these are people, these are leaders who have been together for decades. You know, at least they served together for 8 years as governor and deputy governor. Even within the intragonum of 4 years when they are out of office, they were together. When Kwankwaso was Minister of Defense, they were still together. So I think somehow, unless we prioritize issues of getting leaders, political leaders of the party to manage relationship, we'll continue to have all these things. I mean, if you take, it's not just that. You remember we have had the same situation in Imo. We have had the same situation in Ogun State. I can count how many states we have had leadership problem, which we have mismanaged as a party.
Well, now, to wrap up, because of our time, if Mr. Ganduje is being dragged in Kano State, you may not know peace, because that case would go on and on. That means the APC will not know peace.
No, that is the reality.
What is the exit strategy?
Look, like I said, for me, we must accept that things are not all right, even with APC. Forget about even the Ganduje matter in Kano. The reality is that, as it is, we have problems that require us to come back to rebuild our party. Rebuilding our party is about recruiting new members and reorganizing the leadership. And for me, we need to open up in such a way that we negotiate with even leaders. I mean, look, yes, Kwankwaso is in. The ambition of Senator Kwankwaso is to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Where he is today, I can confidently say it will be almost like a mirage for him to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I mean, tell me how. I mean, look, it will take years of building and negotiation across the country, which may outlive his lifespan. And if we are to fast track it and open our party for him to come back in such a way that we renegotiate his relationship with Dr. Ganduje, and across the states, we also renegotiate relationship between leaders and bring in new forces, Nigerians are likely to even have more confidence in the party, you know.
Mr. Saliu Lukman is a former national vice chairman of the APC. Thank you so much indeed for your time and your thought. Being an activist on the leadership and the manner in which the APC is supposed to go, and he's not stopped talking about it. Thanks so much indeed for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.